Every year, our local business publication selects one person in our region among many business leaders to honor for their professional success and contribution to the community. They name this person Business Person of the Year. And in 2018, they selected me. I couldn't have been more proud, excited, and honored. I was selected mainly because of my success in starting a civil engineering firm from my home in 2001 and growing it to become one of the top 500 engineering firms in the United States. It was great to see all that effort being recognized. I felt that I was being recognized as a major contributor to our community and a leading business person. A few days after the cover article on me was published, I walked into a local restaurant that is popular among business people. As I walked in the restaurant from across the room, I saw a well-known businessman. He waved me over. And as I got close to his table, I saw that he was sitting there with his wife and another prominent couple. He gave me a big hug and turned to the table with a big booming voice and announced, "Here's the cover girl." She was on a cover of a magazine, and she didn't even have to take her clothes off. I was shocked and stunned. My engineer's mind was trying to find a rational reason why he would say something like that. I couldn't find any reason, and I was at a loss for words, so I weakly smiled and turned away. As I was walking towards my table, I couldn't help but imagine what I should have said, and if this businessman would have said the same thing if I was a man. I am a proud civil engineer. As a civil engineer, it is my responsibility to design and build the physical infrastructure of our society that improves the life of all citizens. As a woman, like this cover girl comment, I am often reminded how outdated our social infrastructure is comparing to our physical one. I believe it is way past time to stop gender biases. You may think we're already there. We often hear words such as gender neutrality, implying that we should be only focused on one person's individual talent and abilities regardless of their gender. I think that is great. But for gender neutrality to have any meaning, we must first achieve true gender equality. I wonder if my children were with me at the restaurant and had heard the cover girl comment, what would they think when I was sitting there silent and I'm not saying anything? Growing up, they had to watch as I walked a tightrope between balancing relationships in a community and industry filled with powerful and influential men, while advocating for women's causes and what I passionately believe in: equality and equity for all human beings, regardless of their national origin, gender, race, or sexual orientation. I was born in the beautiful city of Tehran, Iran, and I lived there until I was 15 years old. My mother, grandmother, and great aunts were all college educated, and they had successful careers. One of my great aunts was among the first female criminal lawyers in Iran. She used to tell my sister and me, you must have a career and you must have a higher education. She would tell us stories of women who were trapped in unhealthy relationships because outside their marriage, they could not support themselves or their children. Looking back, I believe that I grew up a feminist. I just didn't know it had a label. Like many women of my generation, my journey from entry level to CEO was not an easy one. When I started as a female and an immigrant, I had to be better and work harder to be barely considered equal to men. Looking back, I laugh about how hard I tried to be one of the guys. I remember smoking cigars, knowing when the deer hunting season started, learning American football, and even taking up golf. All these years later, I still do enjoy a cigar occasionally. And I do play golf, but the rest, not so much. Despite being better, working harder, and working to fit in, I was still passed over for the promotions that I deserved. But I was not the only one who was left out of the boys' club. I am amazed that until 1972, when Title IX passed, federally funded colleges and universities legally could not admit women. There were many women, such as Sandra Day O'Connor and Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who could not get a job at the beginning of their career due to their gender, despite the fact that they graduated at the top of their class from the most prestigious law schools. And J.K. Rowling, the famous author of Harry Potter, in 1995, when she published her book, she used her initials instead of her first name, Joanne, because her publisher believed that a female author would not be interesting to male readers. She did not have a middle name, and she borrowed Kathleen, which was her grandmother's first name, to come up with J.K. Rowling. I guess J.K. was manly enough. The main reason that I started my business was the challenges I had moving up into leadership roles. I took a massive risk with starting my business, and I was successful. But all women should not have to start a business to be able to move up in the ranks or get a fair shot at advancement. Women are almost half of our workforce, and they are grossly unrepresented and underrepresented in their leadership roles. We need more women in leadership roles. For example, there are only 25 CEOs in Fortune 500 companies. That is only 5%. We need more CEOs in Fortune 500 companies. We need more CEOs in every company, not only in Fortune 500 companies. I believe that we need to look at our language and mindset as we are looking in our society. Women face many challenges in the workforce, for example, in the fields of STEM, in science, technology, engineering, math. Women are extremely low represented. You may ask yourself, why does it matter? Companies who have bigger, diverse leadership experience lower turnover, more job satisfaction, and better financial performance. And it matters to me personally as a female and business owner when I see less women entering the fields of science, technology, engineering, and math, also known as STEM fields. And this is not only in STEM fields, it is in all fields. It's a systematic issue that expands many industries and many professions. In addition to the workforce, our everyday language contributes to the challenges women are facing. Recently, I was watching a YouTube video. An ad popped up about how to dress for success. The male commentator advised listeners not to wear a wife beater, referring to a white tank top. Why is it acceptable to call anything a wife beater? In addition to our everyday language, we must be careful about our everyday mindset. And I personally work on my own mindset every day not to fall into the traps of social conditioning that is all around us. A few months ago, I was at a reception where I was introduced to a surgeon and his wife. I immediately assumed that he was the breadwinner and she had no career. Later on, I found out that she was an even more renowned surgeon than he was. That incident really impacted me and made me think even I, a female business owner and a feminist, am quick to assume that a woman is less accomplished than man. And that is something that I encourage both men and women universally to rethink how we view women and what they contribute to the world. At the beginning, many women at the beginning of their career ask me for career advice. They express frustration about the challenges they face for general biases, for gender biases, just lack of support. And I would always give them an advice and tell them, don't take it personally. It's not you, it is them. I would tell them that if you can't get a promotion, leave your job. Go somewhere else where they can respect you. I would even tell them that if men speak over you, raise your voice and assert yourself. I don't give that advice anymore. That is all good. But why should women have to be simply more assertive? Why should women always have to be louder, stronger, and better to get a seat at the table or a fair shot at advancement? Now, instead, I suggest to men to support their female colleagues and assert themselves on behalf of women. I am not saying we need men to rescue women. What I'm suggesting is that we need men to become women's allies. Let's face it, men occupy the most positions of power and influence in the society. And when they lend their voice and action on behalf of women, that could make a big change. Catalyst, an organization that focuses on women's advancement and equity in workplace, identifies men championing women as one of the 3 factors in global change. For me, 3 decades after working as an engineer, business owner, and entrepreneur, I believe it is time for us to breathe new life into the word feminism by asking both men and women to champion women at home, in the society, and at workplace. I understand that many people shy away from the word feminism. But I worry that if we forget the history of feminism, we risk forgetting the incredible positive change it contributed in our society. And I want you to ask yourself, do you believe that historically women have not had equal opportunity and has had obstacles in growth? Do you believe that 50% of the population is unable to reach their full potential because isolation, lack of support, and male-dominated work environment? Are you aware of your own mindset and how you view women in the society and workplace? And if you answer yes to any of those questions, in my mind, you are a feminist, and you should be happy to call yourself one. A feminist is not about payback, bra burning, or degradation of men. A feminist will see the potential in women and enthusiastically encourage them, even if they cannot see that potential in themselves. A feminist will encourage, support, and mentor women to seek higher positions in the organization and in the society. A feminist will see the flaws in our mindset and will actively do what they can to level the playing field. I believe when men and women both are aware of the challenges women facing, and when men passionately champion women, we can make a huge difference in the world. As an engineer, when I see a problem, I rethink it. You can be sure next time I'm on a cover of a magazine, I will not be silent if an uninformed person expresses wonder about how a woman can accomplish something with her clothes on. Thank you.